Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So a woman in Ohio just lost $500,000 thanks in part to a new scam involving Social Security. So we'll be covering that and what you need to be looking out for. Plus, Nebraska might be changing the way that their voting system works coming up in November for this year's election, which the former president and Donald Trump is praising them for doing the right thing. So we'll be covering that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you at least 5 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. And if you'd rather just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stocks is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and that involves the state of Nebraska. So usually how they run their elections for the presidential elections is unlike other states where it kind of just comes down to the entire population. And if more people vote for Trump than Biden, then Trump will be getting all of the electoral votes. Whereas if Biden gets more votes than Trump, then in that case, Biden would be getting all of the electoral votes for that particular state. Well, in Nebraska, it actually comes down to different congressional districts. So it can actually be split up like last year, or the last presidential election in 2020, Biden actually took one congressional district, which centers around Omaha, which is the largest city in Nebraska. And so because of that, Trump did not win all of the electoral votes from the state of Nebraska. Biden actually took a fraction of the electoral votes from that state. And it looks like Nebraska might actually be changing it, where instead of having different congressional districts award different points, instead it will be like a winner-take-all system, which Trump, of course, is praising as a good thing because that's also going to work in his favor. So, according to The Hill, former President Trump lauded Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen for endorsing a winner-take-all system for the state's electoral college votes on Tuesday. Switching Nebraska's vote count would bring it in line with much of the rest of the country and could help Trump gain an extra electoral college vote this November. He said in a true social post that Governor Jim Pillen of Nebraska, a very smart and popular governor who has done some really great things, came out today with a very strong letter in support of returning Nebraska's electoral votes to a winner-take-all system. He also went on to say that most Nebraskans have wanted to go back to the system for a very long time because it's what the other 48 states do, it's what the founders intended, and it's right for Nebraska. Thank you, Governor, for your bold leadership. Let's hope the Senate does the right thing. Nebraskans respectfully ask your senators to support this great bill. So state legislators introduced a measure to implement the winner-take-all system in January, which Pillen, of course, endorsed on Tuesday. And if the bill were to go into effect for the 2024 election, it could cost President Biden an electoral college vote. Former President Trump won about 58% of the vote in Nebraska in 2020, meaning the GOP candidate would get the state's entire slate of 5 electoral votes in a winner-take-all system. So obviously, that would impact the election in a small way, but at the end of the day, that could be the difference between winning or losing for the former president and Donald Trump. Now, speaking of Trump and Biden, in a recent poll by Gallup, roughly 3 in 10 say that neither Biden or Trump would be a good president. So according to The Hill, nearly 30% of Americans say they don't believe President Biden or former President Trump would be good in the White House if elected in November, according to a new Gallup poll published on Wednesday. Slightly more respondents said they believe Trump would be effective than Biden at 35% to 30%. That's a change from similar polling in 2020, which found that more said that Biden would be good as president than Trump if reelected. The number of respondents doubting both candidates also increased from 25% in 2020 to 29% this month. The poll represents a rising discontent among voters, especially moderates and independents, with both of the major parties' candidates, and underscores the impact third-party candidates could have on the 2024 election. About 42% of independents said neither Biden nor Trump would be a good president, with only a quarter of the group siding with either candidate. So obviously Americans are we're not really all that happy with either candidate. They really don't particularly love Biden. They don't particularly love Trump. Obviously, there's some people who really love Trump, and there might be some people who really love Biden. But, you know, clearly they're just showing polling. People aren't really happy with either candidate, although people are slightly more happy with Trump than what they are with Biden. Now, speaking of Trump, there's actually a former federal prosecutor coming out right now saying that if he is convicted for falsifying the business records around the Stormy Daniels case, he could actually end up facing some jail time. So once again, according to The Hill, former federal prosecutor Andrew Weissman said on Tuesday that former President Trump could face a jail sentence if he is convicted of falsifying business records in his New York hush money trial, which starts later this month on April 15th. Trump is facing 34 felony counts over claims that he falsified business records in attempts to cover up hush money payments made to hide an alleged affair with adult film actress Stormy Daniels during the closing weeks of the 2016 presidential campaign. So leave your thoughts in comments below. Do you think this is actually a possibility where Trump could actually land jail time? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. And then our final story of today's video, as I mentioned in the opening, as well as the title of today's video, there was a lady in Ohio who recently lost right around $500,000 in savings. This is a woman who was ready to retire. She thought she was done pretty much working, stressing over the bills, everything like that. She built up a very nice nest egg. She did all the right things during life. She built up $500,000 in savings. And then one day, she saw all of that wiped away, thanks in part to a terrible, terrible scam involving Social Security. Let's go ahead and watch.
I'll never see it. No, I'll never see it. It's long gone.
A Central Ohio woman is out hundreds of thousands of dollars. Scammers took the money from her.
Investigators say it's part of an international organized crime operation. NBC4's Eric Halperin spoke with the woman and the lead detective today. And Eric, this is quite the operation here.
Jen, the scam involved multiple levels, and the woman here says the scammers took advantage of her fear. A couple of them even went inside her home. The lead detective says before this, he had never heard of something like that happening as part of a scam. It's been about a year since the direction Lori English's life was headed completely changed. She worked for 40 years and was able to retire early. Now she's looking for a job.
All my dreams are gone. Everything's gone.
In March 2023, she got a phone call and says the name which popped up was for the Social Security Administration. It would be the first of many calls she had over the next couple months and would end up costing her more than $500,000.
They were so slick. The guy that I talked to every day had an answer for everything, and he was smooth.
She says the people on the phone told her her Social Security number was linked to a drug trafficking and money laundering operation.
They made her believe that somebody was using her identity and had committed these crimes. Therefore, they needed these things from her to help clean her name of this investigation.
According to English, the people who she now knows are scammers told her in order to get her name cleared, she had to drain her retirement and investments and then buy gold. She did. She was also told she could not talk to anyone about this. She says they were preying on her fear.
I've had people say to me, that's not, that's not going to happen. People aren't going to do that legitimately. And I say, until you're in my shoes, you can't judge.
Two of the people who showed up at her Licking County house to get the gold from her were recently sentenced to 2 years in prison. Detective Sergeant Justin Woodyard was the lead detective on the case.
I do not know of another case where scammers actually come into your residence, in your living room, and take possession of your property.
He says this organized crime scheme goes up many levels, and the people who were talking to English on the phone are still out there.
It was a long process, a long, scary process, and they got everything from me. And I want to educate people, teach them how these operations work.
And the lead detective says law enforcement will never call over the phone asking for money. The gold, which was with the two men who are now in prison, has been found, but English is still out hundreds of thousands of dollars from gold that was picked up from other people who have not been caught yet.
So once again, this is just a terrible, terrible situation. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Have you heard anything about this happening? Obviously, as the years go by, we have to be more and more careful about the different scams that go out there. We've seen all the different trends of artificial intelligence, or AI for short, where basically we can have someone like Obama or whoever else saying something and it sounds exactly like their voice, it looks exactly like them. So you could be on a video call with someone who you think might be like your mom or your child or your grandchild or someone that you might know, and it could look exactly like them, be super realistic, and it could sound exactly like their voice. And they could be like, hey, I'm sorry, son, I'm in a lot of trouble. I owe $10,000 and I need to have it right now. Can you go ahead and wire those funds over through Western Union or something like that? And it looks and sounds exactly like them. And because you think that they're in this deep, deep trouble, you might go out and do it. And little do you know, it's actually artificial intelligence, a scammer trying to scam you out of $10,000. Or what if it actually is them? How are you supposed to believe whether or not it's them? You'll have to come up with some type of code number or passkey or something like that that only you and them know. It's just as far as technology goes, the better technology that's out there, obviously it can better our world, make things better, but obviously in these cases it could actually make things worse as well. But leave your thoughts and comments below on everything in today's video, but that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like, consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.